Good morning, everybody. We're here for the first episode of Critical Thinking, or lack thereof, in the United States. Here's a quick example. I'll make this quick. When I was like 13 or 14, I had to do a social studies, a book report on current events. Height of the Cold War. Soviet Union's our enemy, so evil. They're building weapons and rockets and nuclear weapons. They're going to kill us. We got to duck and cover in school. Everyone's got to build bomb shelters in their backyard. Huh? Okay. So I got to do a book report. So in the newspaper it says, America sends 50,000 tons of free corn, wheat, and soybeans to Soviet Union to feed the starving people because of crop failures. So I was like a kid. I'm like, wait a minute here. They're building missiles and rockets and tanks to point at us. And we're going to give them food so they don't have to spend money making food. They'll starve the people so we feed them so they can build more weapons to point at us. What's going on here? Does it make any sense? No. I think most people would agree on that. And then we gave it to China, too. Well, at that time, China wasn't really a threat. It was kind of like over there somewhere, and no one talked about them. So then comes, which ties into what I'm going to say. 1996, 95, 96. Ross Perot screaming about how NAFTA is going to add communist China into free trade with the United States. I don't mind Canada, Mexico. I'm happy to buy it from Mexico, Canada. It's cool. Give them all the business. How are we going to trade with a country that imprisons Christians, tears churches down, has millions of Muslim Uyghur Chinese Muslims locked into prison labor camps, threatens us, spies directly on us? But then I thought about this for a minute. It ain't about that. They're not an enemy. Again, Amazon, Google, Walmart, Apple, Microsoft, all these companies, Silicon Valley, YouTube, all these things are making trillions of dollars in profit over 20 years. Having the People's Liberation Army, PLA for short, and the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, which is like a 10% of the Chinese population, controlled the labor market in China to produce Chinese, well, not Chinese goods, but goods for the Western capitalists in the United States. And if you protest or want more money, you disappear. Which says Tiananmen Square we saw in 1989, which people seem to have forgotten, maybe kids don't know. They ran over hundreds and hundreds of college students that were protesting. They smashed them to hamburger meat with tanks in 1989 when I was still in college. But yet we opened up trade with them. So then I thought to myself, this has been going on. Ross Perot tried to tell the truth way back then. And the Republicans and Democrats, Newt Gingrich also, along with Clinton's, passed this NAFTA China thing. They said we have to, NAFTA we have to. In 20 years, my stepfather listened to, I call him Rush Limbaugh, which is really Rush Limbaugh propaganda. Not once did he mention Communist China trade, Rush Limbaugh show. Not once. Look, I'm smoking a cigar like he is, see? So, what's going on here? So, right, I didn't like Trump. I'm a moderate, independent voter. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I call them Republicans and demon cats. They're both fake. They're both the same people in the back room. They both sold us out to China. It's not China, remember. Chinese people are good. They suffered a lot here. It's not the Chinese people. They're good. They worked. They went through hell. What Europe did to them in the old days, that's a whole different discussion. It's this authoritative tyranny there. It's not even communism, because communism, all the workers are supposed to share in wealth and have a good life. And that's not the case there in North Korea or China. I won't say it's communist China. It's tyrannical, pseudo-communism. Anyway, so before Trump gets elected, the Republicans don't like him. I'm listening to these Lush Dimbaugh show, and he's like, oh, the guy's a clown. He's a loser. He's not going to get elected. And of course, the Democrats didn't like him. I mean, that's to be kind of be expected. So then I said to myself, wait a minute here. Republicans and Democrats don't like the guy. And then the guy starts talking about what I've been talking for 20 years. Why are we doing business with this country? That's the worst to human rights. It's spying on us. It's taking advantage of our economy and not buying anything from the United States except raw material. It's gotten to the point now where only Chinese takeout food is made in America. And it's funny, but it's not funny. So, the man behind the curtain on The Wizard of Oz, that's who I'm going to expose right now. I say the men or people. Got to be fair. Stockholders, Amazon, Google, YouTube, Silicon Valley, Apple, Walmart. Let's look them up. Who are they? They want Trump gone. Not that I'm a big Trump fan. I'm not saying Trump is an angel. He's obviously not. No one is. I wouldn't trust him if he was. He's been screaming about this China deal since even before he got in. That's the only reason I respect the guy. Otherwise, I really didn't like him. When he started talking against China, I said something bad's going to happen. And man, they have been trying to get rid of him. I mean, they had every allegation on earth against this guy. All turned out to be false. And now this virus, which is very suspicious. I mean, Trump had gone to India to make friends with India for trade. And that week, all of a sudden, this virus comes out. And China and India hate each other. They're enemies. And India, I'd rather do business with them anyway. India is a good country. The leadership is reasonably okay. But what's going on here? Trump announces tariffs against China and goes to India. And all of a sudden, magically, this pandemic comes out. Puts half these businesses out of business, mom and pop shops. Sears is gone. Macy's is going bankrupt. JCPenney's going bankrupt. So many companies now are gone. But guess who's full of customers? Walmart. Yeah, they let like 300 or 400 people in. All these big box stores are packed. Packed. But the little people, you can't be open, man. You got to be wearing masks and shut down, and we'll send the police there. You can't go to church, you can't go to synagogue, but you can go to Walmart with 400 people walk around and buy plastic stuff from China. Okay? Think about this. I'm just trying to be neutral here. Let's think. Critical thinking is the name of this. So now we got a situation where a monopoly is going on data. 4 companies own almost all the media. All YouTubes and Googles and Twitters and Facebooks, FaceCrook. It's all kind of controlled by the same bunch of people. And they're censoring. So they just admitted making up lies about hydroxychloroquine. They just retracted all the information Harvard came up with that it's dangerous, which cost $3. It could have stopped this whole pandemic. It saves lives with zinc. They know this. Yale University's medical school just released this. So Johnson & Johnson is trying to make some vaccine that may or may not work. It's a gamble. They're going to make billions. Did they have anything to do with this? Or these other big pharmaceuticals? I don't know. So they're fanning the flames of racism, civil unrest on these devices, iPhones, flash mobs, around the whole planet. And that's the men behind the curtain. There's these big corporations I mentioned. And if you think about it, It seems logical. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, please comment, yell at me, whatever you want to do. I'm used to it. Okay? We'll get through this. Also, 1968, I was 6 years old. Hong Kong flu killed 1 million people worldwide, 100,000 Americans. We had Woodstock the next year. The country was on fire after Martin Luther King was shot by an evil guy. Everyone went nuts, burned half the country down. And then we had Woodstock, and we had peace, love, and granola bars. And everyone was getting along fine. With Hong Kong flu mixed in, no lockdowns, no problems. So what's going on here? I ask everyone, what's going on? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a conspiracy nut. The conspiracy is the conspiracy. Remember that part. They make these conspiracies to make everyone nuts. Not nuts, but distracted, like Rome did with bread and circus. You get sports, entertainment, distractions from the truth. Right? And I'm going to smoke a cigar because it's politically incorrect and it chases away the virus. It's a Cuban cigar, too. Alright? Peace out.